Oh my gosh, ref, that was not a foul. You cannot be serious. You know what? I can't take it, y'all. Let me grab my headphones. Okay, let me turn the mic on because I got to do a new episode of Hoop Love, your basketball podcast for all things WNBA. You ready? Because I'm about to do it right now. Hey y'all, what's up? It's your girl Jay Michelle, and welcome back to Hoop Love, your basketball podcast for all things WNBA. I hope that you all are doing well. Thank you for checking in again, coming back to hang out with your girl. Man, this was certainly a jam-packed but fun week for me. I was actually a guest on the Kirk and Bird show, which was a complete blast. The link is in my Instagram bio @_HoopLoveVA. Please go check it out, watch the full episode, and also subscribe to their channel, The Kirk and Bird Show, on YouTube. They're also on Google Podcasts, and please follow them on social media. Kirk and Bird are such great guys, and the show is awesome too. So please go out and support them, check them out, and show them the same love that you show me. The Kirk and Bird Show, two great guys that shared a piece of their platform with me, and I was definitely honored to hang out with them in that way. So here we are on Hoop Love. There's a lot going on in the WNBA, y'all. The season is in full swing. Oh, and the Indiana Fever just gave themselves a temperature check because they made a sudden but major change. And of course, you know, I have all the details on that coming up here in a bit. Got a jam-packed show for you today. We got the league review segment. Of course, I have a girl delete moment, and I am debuting a new segment that I am calling Coach's Corner. It's going to be a lot, y'all, but we're going to have a good time. It's going to be fun. So kick back, get comfortable, because we're going to have a good time together. But first, of course, I got to get into the Black business spotlight. But before that, like I said, there's a lot going on here. Y'all ready? Because I'm ready. All right, let's do it. But first, before I kick off the show, let's get it started with the Hoop Love Black business spotlight. And today I am featuring Gold and Glitz picnics. This is such a cool concept, y'all. Okay, so creative. So check this out. Gold and Glitz Picnics specializes in creating a luxurious environment so that you can create lasting memories with your loved ones on special occasions. So if you are planning a special date night, girls' night out, a brunch, maybe a little romantic picnic, a birthday party, anniversary celebration, or whatever it may be, Gold and Glitz Picnics is who you want to call to set the mood for your outing. Whatever the occasion, Gold and Glitz Picnics has you covered. Oh, and check this out, guys. Wherever you're hosting your event, they the bomb, because they will even come to you to set up the dope ambiance for you to enjoy. Now, check them out, y'all. Again, it's called Gold and Glitz Picnics. Now, I got to give a little shout out to the two founders and owners of Gold and Glitz Picnics, who just happen to be my cousins. So, man, I just got to tell you, I mean, shout out to these ladies. They are so creative, detail-oriented, and every single event that they do is top-notch. I've seen their work, and they are top-notch, y'all, for real. So what does that mean for you? It means that I highly recommend them to you. So if you have an event coming up, or you just want to do something special for your boo, hit them up and let them curate the perfect setup for you. Now go ahead and connect with them. Follow them on social media, on their Instagram page. It's Gold and Glitz Picnics, to check out their work and book them for your next event. I'm trying to tell y'all, shout out to the ladies at Gold and Glitz Picnics. They are truly the bomb, and I love their work. I mean, they're so creative, their attention to detail, just all this stuff. I'm going to post about them on my Instagram page. So please check out the post, get connected with them on Instagram, follow. If you have events coming up, you got to call the ladies at Gold and Glitz Picnics. Again, their Instagram is Gold, the letter N, Glitz Picnics. Check them out, follow, support, show them love. You will not be disappointed in what they put together for your event. All right. The WNBA, as I said earlier, is the WNBA is in complete full swing now. And there are so many there have just been so many great games lately. Y'all know I love basketball. I love the WNBA. I've just been so happy that the season is back and in full swing. So many great games lately, but I have one in particular that I want to highlight for you here today. So let's get into the league review segment, AKA the Liddy League Review segment. So the game that I'm going to talk about and recap for you all today is the Phoenix Mercury versus the Las Vegas Aces. All right, in the opening minutes of the game, Phoenix came out hot and they took an early lead. Now, the Phoenix Mercury, they have had some recent drama, as I'm sure a lot of us have seen, recent drama between teammates on the bench, and it actually happened in the game prior to the one that I'm talking about here. And what the heck happened? You're probably wondering. Well, I'm gonna give it to you. Skylar Diggins-Smith, guard for the Phoenix Mercury, she was upset during a timeout and proceeded to instigate a verbal altercation between her and the GOAT, Diana Taurasi. And so following that, Diggins-Smith actually didn't play in the game that I'm talking about here. It was actually the second of two games back to back against the Aces. So the verbal argument happened in the first meeting of these two teams. The game that I'm talking about now was the second. The league is kind of doing this thing. Hey, while you're in town, just play each other twice. You play each other, have a day off or have a gap day in between, and you play each other again, which makes sense. It saves money from a travel perspective, and it kind of limits, their exposure as they're traveling city to city, day after day, right? And so in the game, going back now to the game, the second meeting between these two teams, Aces and the Mercury, in this particular game, Skylar Diggins-Smith, she was out. Now, the team said that she was out with the, quote, non-COVID illness. Okay, but here's an early one. Girl, delete. Y'all know good and well she was in no position to come back and play after she caused all that drama and embarrassed the team on the bench. But okay, you said it was a, quote, non-COVID illness. So, but okay, we'll go with that. But back to the game here, guys. So Phoenix was up 25-22 at the end of the first quarter. Now, going over to the Aces for a second, LaChina Robinson and Ryan Ruocco, they were the pair that called the game. It was televised on ABC. And they made mention to the way that A'ja Wilson was playing defense against Tina Charles from the Phoenix Mercury. Now, Tina Charles, she's a post player, but she has a strong outside game. She can take people off the dribble. She can shoot outside shots. However, this particular season, Tina has gotten off to a bit of a slow start when it comes to her shooting percentage. And with that said, A'ja Wilson, as far as her defense on Tina Charles, she was playing off of her. But Tina found her groove early in the game, which, of course, causes a change in the way that A'ja Wilson was going to guard her, right? She's basically saying, hey, I'm going to give you space and I'm going to make me respect you as a offensive player, which Tina Charles said, you think I don't have these tricks in my bag? But I do, ma'am. And as I said, she found her groove early in the game, and that had to, that forced changes on the way that A'ja Wilson was playing her. Now, this season, as the Aces are, they really are looking to improve the depth of their bench. And so they currently, unfortunately, are without Raquana Williams, who's out with an ankle sprain. Blessings of healing to her. Hope she's able to come back soon. So with that in mind, Becky Hammond is getting great minutes out of her other guards, and the bench is getting more run as well, which to me only helps them achieve their goal of adding depth to the bench, because more players are getting minutes, right? And that certainly helps them to do that and achieve that goal. And for the Aces, I must say that I really like the way that A'ja Wilson and Kia Stokes play together in the post. I think that post combination is going to be lethal this season for the Aces. They really feed off of each other well, and they really, really seem to have found their groove as teammates, which, okay, it does wonders for the Las Vegas front court, and they really play well together. They seem to really be in sync, even early in this season. So I'm excited to see how they continue. I mean, as time passes, their bond and their playing together only strengthens. And so I'm excited to see how that is going to play out. Now, going back to the Phoenix Mercury, I just have two words: Diamond DeShields. She was completely on fire in this game. I mean, knocking down outside shots, even some from long range, right? At one point, she hit a three, but then the refs came back and said, no, if it was on the line, okay, whatever, it's a long two. But listen, she was being so aggressive and tenacious on defense. It was like whatever Phoenix needed, she stepped up and delivered. Her moments of play just looked so fluid. I mean, I think that her role on this Phoenix team really allows her to play so free and just focus on what she does, right? And the things that make her unique, right? She's coming back from the injury. We talked about that on the previous episode. If you have not seen her feature, please look it up on YouTube. Holly Rowe did a beautiful, beautiful feature story piece on Diamond DeShields and her road to recovery, AKA the comeback. And so again, I think that her role on the team, she's back, she's healthy. She's just playing in the flow and just doing what she does. Now, let's fast forward to the second half for now. And the Aces came out and put on a complete show. It was like whatever they did and talked about in that locker room, man, listen, the Mercury really did not have an answer to stop the run that the Aces went on in the second half. This, to me, is where the lack of depth for the Mercury starts to come into play and work against them, right? They have players that have joined the team late, right? They're one of their stars, Breonna Turner. She's just coming back from playing overseas, right? Same situation with Diamond DeShields. She's new on the team as a all-season free agency trade, brought her to Phoenix. She was playing overseas. She's coming back now to the W, trying to get reacclimated on this new team, or get acclimated, I should say, on this new team. Plus, they have a new head coach, right, coming in, putting in a new system that players have to adjust to. And I really believe that it's just growing pains, so to speak, at this point for the Phoenix Mercury. And they're really still trying to form their identity as a team. But I'm going to tell y'all, in this game, the Aces just flat out hustled the Mercury. They played with such high energy, and their bench maintained that same level of play right when they entered the game. So you're really these two teams, right? Phoenix, they're trying to reestablish themselves and kind of gel and find their group identity as a team. Aces is like, look, we back, we better, we just the same as we were as far as having the same people. And I really feel like that makes a difference for them, right? They are seasoned as a unit. And that shows in the way that they play. In the end, the Las Vegas Aces won the game, y'all, by 20 points. Woo! Totally different team, totally different showing of the Aces team, I should say. In the second half, they won the game by 20. The final score was 100-80. And let's run some stats real quick for the Aces, looking at their starters. And this is, you're going to be able to add this up and say, yeah, that's why they won the game. Jackie Young, 20 points. Kelsey Plum, 24 points. De'Erica Hamby, 13 points. Chelsea Gray, 13. And Asia Wilson had 9. So that right there is a very strong showing from your starters. And like I said, the bench players came right in and they kept that same energy. So that was the league review segment. Now it's time for a new segment that I'm calling the Coach's Corner. So, of course, during an earlier episode of Hoop Love this season, I talked about a few WNBA teams and the WNBA teams who have new head coaches this season. So during this Coach's Corner segment, I want to just take a little loop back around the block, and I want to revisit some of those head coaches and see how they're doing, right? Let's just do a little early season check-in. I'll share my thoughts on how they've been doing so far. But before we get into it, oh my goodness, I am starting this Coach's Corner segment with some breaking news from the Indiana Fever. I hope y'all are sitting down. If you're not, please find a chair, get comfortable, because this is a doozy, y'all. So just a few short days ago, they announced that their head coach, Mary Ann Stanley, was fired, y'all. And she would no longer serve in the position of head coach. Oh my goodness. Well, let's walk through this. Okay. So Carlos Knox, who was actually brought to Indiana, I believe it was this season. He's, brought in as a new assistant coach. Well, Mary Ann Stanley got the boot. So guess who's the new head coach? Yep, you guessed it. Carlos Knox has now stepped in as the Indiana Fever's interim head coach. And all I can say about this show, oh my gosh, is wow, wow, wow. I mean, as soon as I saw this headline, I was honestly so confused, because why now? Like, let's dig into this. Like, why now? Just 3 weeks into this new season. Now, me personally, I thought that they would have fired Mary Ann Stanley during the off season. But since they didn't, I'm just playing this out of my mind here with y'all. Since they didn't, I figured, okay, well, they're probably going to maybe possibly be giving her one more season to turn this thing around and get the team on track. I mean, because let's be honest, right? There's no secret, right, that the Indiana Fever have really struggled these past few seasons. But the crazy thing is, and it's like as I watched their games, I just could not put my finger on why. Like, why are they on the struggle bus? Somebody help me. But I will say this, from my perspective anyway, I think that they have good, talented players. Marianne Stanley, she's a good coach. And all I can really say about their struggles is maybe they just didn't have the right combination of players, right? Though I don't think that was fully the problem, but I'm just, tossing out my little thoughts here, okay? But my honest guess is that Marianne Stanley, right? Coach Stanley probably isn't running the right offensive sets to really utilize the talent that she has on the team. I mean, you've got Kelsey Mitchell, Tiffany Mitchell. At the time, they had Tierra McAllen. They had Lindsay Allen, right? Danielle Robinson, and so many other players that are veterans. They had young talent. It's like, what is going on with this? Like, they're really struggling. I just could not understand this. But here it is. I think about this thing, y'all. Well, also, Marianne Stanley, she's not a very animated coach, which is not a bad thing. But my question, y'all, is like, how do you coach basketball and you just calmly stand on the sidelines in silence? It just doesn't make sense to me. I mean, I have very limited experience as a coach. I coached the little middle school girls a couple of years ago. I was a maniac. Now, I did have to calm that down because those kids weren't ready for that crazy level of energy. But the point is, during the game, how are you just so silent? I don't understand. Well, I don't have to hypothesize anymore, guys, because she's no longer coaching this Indiana Fever team. Temperature check, hello. They had to give her the boot. So there's that. Now interim head coach Carlos Knox is now at the helm, and he started things off strong by getting his first win in their recent game against the LA Sparks. And like I said, hey, this is a temperature check that was absolutely necessary. And I hope that it benefits their team and the effort that they're on, this quest that they're on right now to rebuild and, reestablish themselves in the WNBA. It'll definitely be interesting to see how the Fever continue and ultimately finish this season. I personally wish Coach Knox all the best. I truly and sincerely do. I hope that he does a tremendous job. I've already seen great things as he's taken over so soon. He's doing a great job in that first game. Much different energy coming from the players, coming from the sideline, their head coach. He's active. He's engaged to the game. So that right there says a whole lot, y'all. He's doing what a coach does. And I personally wish him all the best. And I hope that he continues to do a tremendous job and that they will be able to make him their next head coach. Now, continuing with this Coach's Corner segment on lighter, more happy coaching news, let's take a quick trip down south real quick to the ATL, hot Atlanta, hey, and take a look at the Atlanta Dream. Now, I got to just crack a joke here because this year is like the return of the former WNBA players who are now coming back as head coaches. And we're going to start here with Tanisha Wright, who is now coaching the Atlanta Dream. Now, there's also Vanessa Nygaard and Becky Hammond, who we'll talk about in just a minute. But going back here to the Atlanta Dream, Tanisha Wright, she played several years in the WNBA, and following her career, she's been a WNBA assistant coach for several years now, most recently under the legendary Bill Laimbeer, who was the former head coach of most recently the Las Vegas Aces. So last spring, when it was announced that Tanisha Wright was going to be or was appointed the new head coach of the Atlanta Dream, I just was like, wow, this is great. And I said on a previous episode that at first I was excited, but then I quickly had my reservations, mostly for her sake of, wow, this situation in Atlanta is kind of messy. I mean, they had three coaches last season. They had disciplinary issues on the team. And it's like, oh, girl, you really want that job? But I got to say, though I had my reservations, I'm happy to say that I'm pleasantly surprised by the way that she's come in and really started to change the culture in this Atlanta team, on this Atlanta Dream team. And even in the early going so far. She's done a great job. I mean, these girls are really playing, and she's already led the Dream to their best start in franchise history as far as new head coaches that are taking the job. In the first few games, she led them to a 4-1 start, which again is the best for any new head coach in franchise history. She has really come in, established a great system, and Atlanta had some personnel changes in the offseason. Oh, and it also helps that they not only picked Ryan Howard #1 overall in this year's draft, but Ryan Howard, y'all, is having such great impact on this team already, just in the first few weeks of her professional WNBA career. Player of the week, double-digit scoring, playing great minutes. It's like, whew, hats off to you, Tanisha Wright, and keep up the great work that you're doing with the Atlanta Dream. Now, let's scoot on out west and let's go back to the Phoenix Mercury. Now, they have Vanessa Nygaard that they brought in this year as their new head coach. Now, in terms of wins and losses, I think that the Mercury have gotten off to quite a shaky start. But overall, I think that, Coach Nygaard is doing a decent job giving what she has walked into. Now, she hasn't come into an easy situation. And I say this because if you guys remember, the Mercury fell short in the finals last year, losing to the Chicago Sky. And this year, I can only imagine that they have a lot of pressure on them, that they're putting on themselves, right, as a team to come back and not only avenge that loss that they had in the finals last year, but have a killer season and come back and get a championship for what I personally hope will be Diana Taurasi last season. But that's neither here nor there, and I digress. Also, the Mercury added some major pieces in Tina Charles, Diamond DeShields, and a few others. Coach Nygaard also has some pretty big shoes to fill, since former longtime Mercury head coach Sandy Brondello is now gone. They should not have gotten rid of her, but again, nobody asked me. But I will say this, that Vanessa Nygaard is no stranger to the WNBA, as she was a former player in the league in the earlier days of the league being created and set up. She also brings, assistant coaching experience as well. So the stakes are high. All that said, that the stakes are high for the Phoenix Mercury team. And I think that the future is bright for them as a franchise with Coach Nygaard at the helm. But I also must throw this in as well, that Coach Nygaard is really going to have to get this team together quickly and get them back in the win column. They're struggling, and she really needs to maybe adjust her offensive scheme, get the team, acclimated to what they're doing, because there is a lot of talent on this team, but the window of time is short, right? They got to find their groove quickly, start to gel as a unit if they're going to turn their season back around, right? They've gotten off to a shaky start. It's a short season. It comes and goes quickly. We don't have time to be losing. So that was Vanessa Nygaard. I'm going to wrap this Coach's Corner segment up, and let's talk about Becky Hammond, who's now the head coach at the Las Vegas Aces, another WNBA player coming back home, so to speak, to coach in the WNBA. Now, y'all know Becky Hammond is a WNBA legend who, as I just mentioned, has now returned to the league as a new head coach. Now, of course, she's been an NBA head coach for several years with the San Antonio Spurs, but she's now returned home to the WNBA as the Aces coach. Now, I got to tell y'all, I must say that Becky has done a tremendous job so far. Out of the three that I've just talked about, I give her the gold star. She has a lot of top talent on her team, but she's done an awesome job implementing offensive sets to really highlight everyone's strengths. And their defense approach, oh my God, is top tier. Like, I wouldn't want to be defended by any of these Las Vegas Aces players. And I'm going to tell y'all that, again, another team with a lot of, self-imposed pressure. The Las Vegas Aces have come up short the last few seasons in the postseason, right? Making it to the finals in 2020, but they were swept. They lost to Seattle. And then they went out early last year. I'm going to tell y'all, Becky Hammond is already leading them to a strong start this season, and they are certainly a team to watch. But they, too, have a lot that they put on themselves to do well. Bringing in Becky Hammond just takes them up another notch. Whew. And there are definitely some people to watch, y'all. And so now, before I wrap up today's show, let's get into the Girl Delete segment. Now, for those of you who don't know, maybe this is your first time listening or watching, Hoop Love, the Girl Delete segment is the, quote, spicy part of the show, where I talk about some crazy moments that have happened recently in the WNBA. It could be something that a player does or says, or a bad call from the officials, hint, hint, or just a wild overall moment. And I say, girl, delete, because it's so crazy. It's like, you got to be kidding me. It's just that kind of moment. Okay. I share my commentary on what happened and what I think about it. Now, I also want to toss this in too, because some of you guys who have been listening for a while, you've been asking me like, okay, so where did girl delete even come from? So here it is. I'm gonna give you the short version of this story. So a couple years ago, few teammates and I were headed to lunch one day. And while I was driving, others were in the car with me, of course. And one of them, my buddy Chad, hey Chad, shout out to you, hey. So Chad was trying to set up the app, right, for us to park. And he said, hey Jess, what's your license plate number? So, while you're driving, I can go ahead up, set the account up and pay and everything since since I was driving. And then, he was having trouble putting the information in. So another teammate, kind of grabbed the phone or tried on his phone or whatever, and he was able to figure it out. So while I was driving, I was just randomly blurted out, girl, delete. Take my information out of your phone then, because we don't need anymore. I don't want these people knowing my car and stuff. And so, we laughed. And from there, it just kind of became like a little tagline, between me and my family at work, my coworkers. And when Hoop Love came out, last year in 2021, another friend and teammate at work, Nick, shout out to you, he suggested, he's like, Jess, you got to use that on the podcast. And voila, hence the girl delete segment was born. So y'all, let's get into this moment, because it is definitely a wild one. Okay, strap up, let's go. Y'all, the refs are at it again. I talked about them a lot last year, and they're making their way back into this segment again. So today's girl delete goes to the refs from a recent game. Now, let me give you the scoop. It was the Washington Mystics versus the Dallas Wings. In the first quarter, the Mystics came out and they gave Dallas more than they could handle. In the second quarter, however, Arike Agumawale, she started to heat up. She was hitting 3-point shots, which gave herself and the Wings a boost of confidence. Now, let's fast forward to the fourth quarter of that game. Dallas had come back to take the lead. And now at that point, Washington was down by about 10 points or so. But Washington was starting to make a strong comeback. And that's when the terrible officiating kicked in. Oh, my goodness. So there were several horrifically terrible calls, and that might not even be a word, but I just made it one. Carl Webster is in there now. They made several horrifically terrible calls. Okay, the officials, yes, them again. Oh, I can't even take it. But there was one call in particular that just takes the cake, and I'm just going to go ahead and say it early. Girl delete. Okay, Maisha Hines-Allen, she was making a move to the basket, and she just gently bumped the Dallas defender. And I'm gonna remind y'all that basketball is a physical game. It's a contact sport. Okay. It's not like everybody's out there picking daisies. No. So she just gently bumped the defender. Okay. And as the defender stepped up to stop Allen's, her drive to the basket, the whistle blows. And I'm like, what? What are they calling? She didn't do anything. And in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, well, the offensive player didn't violate. The defensive player didn't violate. What the heck are y'all blowing the whistle for? And y'all, the refs had the nerve to call an offensive foul. And oh, but wait, it gets worse. Believe it or not, it does get worse. The refs go over to the monitor to review the play, and and they end up calling a flagrant 2. Y'all, a flagrant 2 is an automatic ejection from the game. Oh my gosh, y'all, I literally lost it. Girl delete, what the heck is this? Like, refs, do y'all not even know what a flagrant foul is? Oh my gosh. Now, for those of you who don't know, in order for a flagrant 2 to be called, it means that a player has to make a malicious non-basketball move or contact with another player, right? And it's intentional. That's what the flagrant 2 call is all about. And not only did Maisha Hines-Allen not commit a foul at all, she certainly didn't do anything malicious or make any non-basketball moves against the other players. Like, come on, refs, y'all have got to be joking. So again, to the WNBA refs that officiated that game, I say, you know what's coming. Here it is. Girl delete. Y'all got to do better. I got to call the ref captain or whatever, because they just don't get it. I don't understand. I'm like, these games are too serious, too close, too high stakes for y'all to be coming in and taking over by blowing that freaking whistle. You got to be kidding me. Girl, delete. Just had to say it again, y'all. Oh my goodness. So that's all, folks. That's a wrap on today's episode of Hoop Love, your basketball podcast for all things WNBA. Thank you again for coming through and kicking it with me. Follow me on Instagram at _HoopLoveVA to stay up to date with the show, WNBA news, and so much more. I'm your girl, Jay Michelle, and I will see you guys soon on the next episode. Be blessed.